For thousands of years, religions have asked, what makes humans suffer? How do we find peace? What gives life meaning? And for about 150 years, psychology has been asking the same questions, just using different language. Where religion speaks of sin, psychology talks about guilt and shame. Where faith promises salvation, therapy offers healing. Where scripture provides commandments, psychology offers behavioral frameworks. Are these just two different names for the same thing? Or are they completely separate domains? Today, we're exploring the fascinating intersection of religion and psychology, where ancient wisdom meets modern science, and where their conflicts and convergences reveal profound truths about the human mind. From a psychological perspective, religion serves specific mental and social functions, whether or not its metaphysical claims are true. First, it's a powerful tool for meaning-making. The psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor Viktor Frankl argued that humans have a fundamental will to meaning. We can endure almost anything if we understand why. Religion provides coherent narratives that explain our existence and give us a purpose beyond our own survival. Research shows that people with strong religious or philosophical frameworks report up to 35% higher life satisfaction and cope better with trauma. Religion also helps us manage anxiety, particularly the fear of death. Terror management theory suggests we cope with mortality by embracing cultural worldviews that promise some form of continuity. Religion addresses this head-on, offering concepts like an afterlife or a legacy that helps integrate death into a meaningful framework. Religion also fosters social cohesion. Sociologist Emil Durkheim observed that shared religious experiences create a kind of collective effervescence that bonds communities. These communities provide vital social support, a shared identity, and a sense of belonging. Finally, religion helps with behavioral regulation. The idea of being watched by an omniscient deity acts as a constant behavioral monitor. It creates an incentive system, think heaven, hell, or karma, and reinforces a person's identity. Studies have even shown that subtle religious reminders can reduce cheating and increase helpful behavior, even among non-believers. But beyond its broad functions, specific religious practices have measurable psychological benefits. Take prayer and meditation. Neuroscience shows that these activities reduce activity in the part of our brain linked to rumination and self-focus. While increasing activity in the prefrontal cortex, which governs self-control, they lower the stress hormone cortisol and boost feel-good chemicals like dopamine and serotonin. A massive meta-analysis found that meditation, including contemplative prayer, can reduce anxiety by 60% and depression by 40%. Interestingly, the brain doesn't seem to distinguish much between Christian contemplative prayer, Islamic dhikr, or Buddhist mindfulness. They all activate similar neural pathways. Rituals also provide predictable structure that reduces anxiety and gives us a sense of control. Even when we know the ritual has no direct power, community is another huge factor. The famous Rosetto effect study found that a close-knit community in Pennsylvania had 50% lower heart disease rates than neighboring towns, mainly due to the strong social bonds centered around their church. Given that loneliness is as harmful to our health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day, the regular gatherings and shared purpose of religious communities are incredibly powerful. Many religions also emphasize forgiveness and gratitude. Practicing forgiveness is psychologically valuable, as it reduces chronic anger and lowers blood pressure. Similarly, regularly practicing gratitude, a cornerstone of many faiths, has been shown to increase happiness by 25%. However, religion's psychological effects aren't universally positive. The same mechanisms that help can also harm. Some religious frameworks can foster excessive guilt over normal human desires or create impossible standards that lead to chronic self. Studies show that people who view God as punitive and judgmental have higher rates of anxiety and depression, while those who see God as loving and forgiving show the opposite. Certain religious structures can also promote cognitive rigidity, a kind of black and white thinking that makes it hard to deal with ambiguity and new information. Another potential pitfall is learned helplessness. When a religion overemphasizes human powerlessness and total surrender to divine will, it can lead people to become passive and stop taking action to solve their own problems. And while communities provide belonging, they can also become insular, judgmental, and controlling, sometimes leading to what's known as religious trauma. Finally, an over-reliance on supernatural intervention, or magical thinking, can cause people to delay necessary medical treatment or avoid taking personal responsibility for their actions. The key is balance. So what's happening in the brain during those profound religious experiences? Psychologist William James noted that mystical states often feel beyond words, reveal a deep sense of truth, and feel as though you're being overtaken by something larger. Neuroscience shows these experiences involve decreased activity in the part of the brain that defines our sense of self, blurring the boundary between self and other. The brain mechanisms are universal. It's our cultural lens that interprets the experience as an encounter with Jesus, Brahman, or the nature of emptiness. There isn't a single God spot in the brain. Instead, religious experience engages multiple systems, including our reward circuits, social cognition networks, and emotional regulation centers. It's a whole brain event. How we understand religion also changes as we develop. Theologian James Fowler proposed stages of faith, moving from a child's magical, literal understanding to an adolescent's conformity, and hopefully, to a more mature faith that can embrace paradox and mystery. People often leave religion when they encounter moral conflicts, have negative experiences, or find their beliefs intellectually incompatible with science. Others stay or return because they find progressive interpretations, value the community, or have deeply personal experiences. Neither path is inherently more or less psychologically healthy. It all depends on how the relationship with religion functions for that individual. Ultimately, psychologists now distinguish between positive and negative religious coping. Positive coping involves seeking spiritual support, working collaboratively with a higher power, and seeing stresses as opportunities for growth. This is linked to better mental health and faster recovery from illness. Negative coping, like feeling punished by God or attributing everything to demonic forces, predicts worse health outcomes. So, what's the final word? Religion and psychology are asking the same fundamental questions about how to live a meaningful, connected, and peaceful life. Religion approaches this through tradition, faith, and community, while psychology uses research, therapy, and an understanding of our cognitive processes. The truth is, they're not as separate as they seem. Psychology gives us a language to understand why ancient practices like mindfulness and gratitude work. Religion offers a framework for the deep existential questions that psychology can sometimes overlook. The healthiest approach might be an integrated one, taking wisdom from both, staying curious, and recognizing that the human mind and spirit are complex enough to require multiple lenses to be fully understood. Thanks so much for watching. What's your experience with the intersection of religion and psychology? Share your thoughts respectfully in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more explorations into the human mind.